My 39M wife 34F is missing. What do I do? My wife, who's 34, has been gone for hours, and I'm frantically searching for her. I'm 39 and we've been married for what feels like a lifetime. But now, she's vanished into thin air. I'm writing this in desperation, hoping someone can offer some guidance or support. I'm at my wit's end, and my mind is racing with worst-case scenarios. What do I do? How do I find her? Where could she be? My wife's drinking problem has been a constant source of stress and worry for me. It's not just a casual drink or two, it's a full-blown addiction that's taken over her life. She gets blackout drunk, unable to recall entire conversations, events, or even what she's done while under the influence. It's heartbreaking to see her like this, and it's been tearing our relationship apart. We've had countless arguments, broken promises, and shattered trust. I felt helpless watching her spiral out of control, and I've tried everything to support her, from therapy to interventions, but nothing seems to stick. Her drinking has become a dark cloud over our lives, and I'm at a loss for what to do next. Despite the challenges, we've been trying to tackle her drinking problem together. We've been in therapy for a few months now, working through the underlying issues that might be contributing to her addiction. I've also been trying to support her mental health in any way I can. For instance, when she lost her job recently, I knew it would be a tough blow to her self-esteem. So I surprised her with a yoga membership, hoping it would help her find some calm and clarity in this difficult time. I've been trying to be patient and understanding, but it's hard when I see her slipping back into old patterns. I want to support her, but I also feel like I'm enabling her at times. It's a delicate balance, and I'm not always sure if I'm doing the right thing. Last night, I knew we were in for a long night when she cracked open her first drink. I've learned to recognize the signs, and I knew she'd become a different person once the alcohol took hold. She gets belligerent, saying hurtful things and lashing out at me for no reason. I've tried to confront her, to talk her down, but it never ends well. So I did what I usually do. I took some Zzzquil and went to bed early, hoping to escape the chaos. But today, I couldn't escape her anger. She sent me a string of vicious texts while I was at work, each one more hurtful than the last. I tried to brush it off, but it's hard to focus when you're worried about the person you love. When my work took me close to home, I couldn't resist stopping by to check on her. I knew she was probably still drunk, but I had to see for myself if she was okay. I didn't know what I'd find when I walked in the door, but I knew it wouldn't be good. When I walked in the door, I was met with a scene that's become all too familiar. She was slumped on the couch, barely able to hold her head up, and reeking of alcohol. I knew she was in bad shape, but the breathalyzer reading of 0.12 shocked me. She's only 90 pounds soaking wet, and I know she can't handle that much booze. But it was what she said next that really scared me. She started hinting at suicidal thoughts, her words slurred but her pain palpable. I've seen this before, but it never gets easier. I wanted to run, to get back to work and escape the chaos, but I couldn't bring myself to leave her. Not again. This is the third time I've come home to find her like this, and I know I could lose her if I don't act. She's tried to take her own life before, years ago, and the scar on her wrist is a constant reminder of what she's capable of when she's in this dark place. I'm terrified of losing her, and I don't know how much more of this I can take. In that moment, I knew I couldn't leave her alone. I was paralyzed with fear, worried that if I walked out the door, I'd never see her again. So I did the only thing I could think of. I called 911. I begged them to send someone to help me get her the support she so desperately needed. The wait felt like an eternity, but finally, the police and EMS arrived. I was relieved when she cooperated with them, agreeing to go to the ER without a fight. As they took her away, I felt a mix of emotions. Guilt for not being able to help her myself, relief that she was getting help, and anxiety about what would happen next. After they left, I took a few moments to collect myself, trying to process everything that had just happened. Then, I gathered some of her comfort items, her favorite blanket, a change of clothes, and her phone charger and headed to the hospital to be with her. I didn't know what I'd find when I got there, but I knew I had to be strong for her. I arrived at the hospital, exhausted and worried, and asked to see her. I assumed she'd be in a room getting treatment and care, but the nurse's expression told me something was off. "She's in the waiting room," she said, but I knew that couldn't be right. I'd just gotten there, and I knew she wouldn't be sitting calmly in the waiting room. I felt a surge of panic as I searched the area, but she was nowhere to be found. That's when the nurse dropped the bombshell they'd checked the security cameras, and she'd walked out of the hospital before I even arrived. I couldn't believe it. I had all her belongings, her phone, her ID, everything, and yet she'd vanished into thin air. I was left standing there, feeling helpless and scared, with no idea where she could have gone or what she might do next. The thought of her out there, alone and vulnerable, was unbearable. I'm sitting here at home, surrounded by her belongings, feeling utterly helpless. She doesn't have any local friends or family to turn to, and I'm her only lifeline. I've called 911, and they've assured me that officers are searching for her. But the waiting is agonizing. I'm hoping against hope that she'll simply walk through the door, safe and sound, but with each passing minute, my fear grows. I've never felt so powerless in my life. Has anyone else out there been in this situation? I'm desperate for guidance, for some glimmer of hope. Besides the police search, is there anything else I can do to find her? Should I post flyers, reach out to local shelters, or what? I'm willing to try anything at this point. I just want her to come home, safe and sound. TL Doctor, my wife's alcohol addiction has reached a crisis point. She got blackout drunk, expressed suicidal thoughts, and was taken to the ER by EMS. But in a terrifying turn of events, she walked out of the hospital without any of her belongings, no phone, no ID, nothing. She was still heavily intoxicated, likely blackout drunk, when she vanished into the night. I'm frantic with worry, and the police are searching for her. I'm desperate for her safety and well-being. If you've been in a similar situation, please offer any guidance or support you can.